Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be reviewing Divided by Fire. Now this was a arc that was sent to me by an indie author, and I do appreciate that. He took the time, he emailed me, asked if I was interested in them. I said, yeah, sure, can you please send me a physical copy? And he did! Look, I wanted to love this book. I thought, for sure, dude, this is a book I'm gonna love. It was boring. I barely finished it, to be perfectly honest with you. This was supposed to be my 30-page a day read. And so 30 to 50 page a day read. Some days I was only ever reading 18 pages because it bored me a lot, unfortunately. And then the second chapter was like 48 pages. And I would be okay with that if, stuff happened. It's a lot of like wallowing. She summoned our main character. She summoned dragons by accident. And now she's like separated from her husband, right? Look, I wanted so much more than what I got from this book. And that really, really sucks, unfortunately, because I really wanted to love this book, and I just didn't. I felt like, oh yeah, dragon. I'm like the token dragon girl, okay? Token dragon girl here. And yeah, not the greatest, unfortunately. It was just really, really boring. It bored me. And I felt like there was really a whole lot happening. It felt like a lot of scenes were dragged out. I definitely wanted more dragons as well, especially because the book's called Divided by Fire. And there's a dragon on the cover. Sorry, I had like a brain fart for a second trying to wrap my thoughts around this book. And it just, I don't know. I wish I could say I liked it. I wanted to finish this book way earlier than I did. I always plan to read at least 2 30-page a day books. So I plan it in a way where I'm usually done with it by the middle of the month. The last Friday, the 20th, February 20th, or actually before that, February 18th, I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep reading this book. I'm bored to tears about it. I think there were interesting aspects of the book. I did find the plot twist, 75% of the book, were pretty interesting, but the fact that it took to 75% of the book to get to those plot twists was just annoying to me on a personal level. It was just really, really boring. Empowered people in this realm are supposed to not be using their magic. They're supposed to be like suppressed, you're supposed to suppress your magic because magic leaves, evil things, right? So with power comes corruption, all that nonsense. I mean, it's not nonsense, but you know what I mean. I just personally was not interested in this book after a point, but I got into work on Thursday, and I'm like, I'm not taking this book home with me. This book is gonna, if I'm not done with it by tomorrow, by the end of my shift, then that's it. I'm just gonna DNF it. I'm not bringing this book home with me. It's staying here because I like to gift my books I read to my coworkers a lot. So I'll just leave them on like the cart in our break room. And my boss was like, it must be that bad. I'm like, Christine, it's so boring. It's so absolutely boring. There's dragons. The dragons are hardly there. There are some interesting plot twists, sure. But for the most part, it feels like a whole lot of nothing happens. Oh, that guy's a bad guy. That guy's another bad guy. You've got like multiple antagonists. And I just could not wrap my head around this book. Like, I could. It wasn't complicated. I just was reading it and I would struggle. I was struggling to pay attention. So I started, after that first 2 days, I'm like, wow, this is like a 48-page chapter. Okay. Cool. Nothing against long chapters personally, but, I just read Will of the Many. Some chapters are 3 pages, some chapters are like 20 pages long. I have nothing against long chapters, but something has to happen in the chapter in order to justify it being that long, especially without breaks. There are no breaks in the chapter. It's just one very, very long scene where nothing's happening and there's just a lot of chit-chat. And that happens way too often. It's not just the second chapter. It's chapter 3 and chapter 5, chapter 11 and 12 and 13. It's almost every single chapter. Whenever I saw a chapter, I'm like, oh, thank God, this is a short chapter. And I'd blow through it. The fact that I felt such relief at reading such short chapters says so much. I love chunky books, But something has to happen. It can't just be a whole lot of dialogue and a whole lot of, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It has to have something happen in it. Or if nothing's going to happen, then it has to have a break. So that way we as the reader can have like a moment of like reprieve, Especially because I'm not someone who likes to leave off in the middle of a chapter or a sentence. I'm always that person who will stop reading before my lunch break so that way I don't have to leave off in the middle of a chapter, or I'll clock back in a minute or two late for my lunch break because I have to finish the chapter. I do not like leaving off. If I leave off an audiobook in the middle of a chapter, I restart the chapter. I don't just pick off where I left off. I restart the whole chapter. I don't like leaving in the middle of chapters. So the fact that I really couldn't even bring myself to just take a moment, unless, unless there's like a break in that chapter, then that's okay, this is a good stopping point for me to pick up later today, like before bed, so that I can finish the chapter before bed. I just was ultimately bored by this book. I was really, really bored. I think, the characters fell flat for me, even though the plot twist near the end of the book were interesting. Something had to happen earlier on. There had to be something, something with Riker or Thornhill or Vassia, earlier on. And you want to know what's funny? Those are my side characters. Thornhill, Riker, Vassia. I do not remember the main character's name. Greem is her husband. Oh my God. I can remember everyone's name but hers in this entire book. She was not that memorable of a character, to be perfectly honest. And that's what I mean. Like, the characters fell flat for me. I think that there's a big issue with pacing. I think a lot of the chapters could have been cut. Some editing in the middle of them to make them shorter and sweeter, but also raise that momentum of the pacing, and as well as raising the tension. Because when you're dragging a scene out, you're losing that momentum, you're losing the tension, you're losing the reader. So it was okay. It was 2 stars, unfortunately. I really wanted to love it, but I just did not love it at all, unfortunately. So, yeah, those are my feelings. This is my review. Thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.